In this video, we're going to start looking at statistics. Now, statistics are ways of analyzing data sets. We've got two fundamental ways of measuring data sets that we're going to look at in 11.1. One of them is measures of central tendency, which is ways of measuring the middle of a data set. And the second is measures of dispersion, which is measuring kind of how spread out the data is. This video is going to be all about the measures of central tendency. We have three of them: mean, median, and mode. And each of these are a different way of looking at the center of a data set. Now, all three of these methods have flaws. They can be skewed depending on the data set. It can give you misleading information. So it's good to have all three of them so that you're not led astray by things in the data set that mess with the mean, median, or mode. Also, they each just tell you something different about the data set. So depending on what you're looking for out of the data, you might want to look at one of the three of them rather than the other ones, just depending on what it is that you want, what information you want to get from the data. So these three measures that we have of central tendency are mean, median, and mode. The first one, mean, is the average. So to calculate the average, what you're going to do is take all of the numbers, add them all up, and then divide by how many numbers you have. We have a special notation for average. It's this thing right here. So it's x with a little bar above it, and that's read as x bar. So that is the notation that we use to describe the mean or the average. So if we take a data set with n numbers in it, so call it n because we don't know how many numbers are in a generalized data set, but we'll just say we've got first value, the second value, and then however many values up to the last value, which we'll call the nth value. And then the average is going to be adding all of those up, however many you have, add them up, and divide by the number of numbers that you have. The median is just the middle number. So if you put all the data points in order and find the middle one, that is going to be the median. Now, if you have an even number of data points, there is no center. So there's no middle of an even number. So what you do is you take the two that are in the middle and average them. And then the mode is just the most frequently occurring data point. So let's look at this in the context of an actual data set. So the height in inches of members of a college basketball team are 69 inches, 70 inches, 75, 84, 73, 78, 74, 73, 78, and 71. We're told to find the mean, median, and mode of this data set. So first thing I'm going to do with this is just put them in order. It's much easier to kind of see what's going on with the data set if they're in order. So we'll start with the smallest one, which is 69. So I'll cross that off and write it down. Crossing it off just because I want to make sure that I get all of these. The next biggest one would be 70, so we'll write that down. Then the next biggest one looks like 71. Next biggest, there's no 72, but there's a 73. And there's another 73. Next would be 74. Then there's a 75. And then there's two 78s. And then the last one is 84. So when you write them in order like this, it's much easier to see what's going on with the data. So we can find the mean. For the mean, we don't really need to have them in order, but for the other two, it helps. So for the mean, what we're going to do is just add them all up. So we're going to do 69 plus 70 plus 71 plus 73 plus 73 plus 74 plus 75 plus 78 plus 78 plus 84. That is 745. And then we're going to divide that. So this is x bar. This is the average. We're going to take the total, if you add them all together, and divide by how many there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. And so that's going to be 74.5. So that is the average. Then if we want to find the median, that is the middle number. So let's just count in from the end. So go in one at a time. And then there's two middle numbers because there's 10 data points here. So there's two middle numbers. There's not an actual center like if we had an odd number of data points. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 73 and 74 and just average those two numbers. So that will give you 73.5. And then the mode is the most frequently occurring data point, or points. So in this case, if we look through, there's two 73s, and there's two 78s, and then there's just one of all the other ones. So there's two modes for this data set. There's two 73s, and there's two 78s. So the mode is both 73 and 78. It's the most occurring data point.